threat of a death sentence be the key to stopping sexual predators from targeting children? At least a half dozen states are considering legislation that would increase the range of crimes eligible for execution. And legislators in Texas and Tennessee want to add certain child molesters to that list. R.G. Ratcliffe is senior reporter in the Austin Bureau of the Houston Chronicle and the San Antonio Express News. Also joining us, Robert Paisola, a national activist for prisoners' rights. R.G., let me start with you, because this proposal in Texas, as I understand it, would target repeat child sexual offenders. Of course, Texas is known as tough on crime, but how are people reacting to this?
Well, so far, most people are just now learning about the issue and learning what's going on. It's a very important issue to a large group of conservatives here. Texas, as it stands right now, has some of the longest penalties for child molesters in the nation. The average sentence is 20 years. However, Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst has sort of taken on a charge of requiring mandatory sentences for people the first time around. Even though 20 years is the average sentence, it's not mandatory. And then for anyone who commits a second child molestation offense, the Lieutenant Governor would like to see them be eligible for the death penalty. At present, you would have to have killed the child to be eligible for the death penalty, but in this case, you would only have to commit an aggravated sexual act against a child.
And as I understand it, there are some serious constitutional questions about this. Is it clear whether it would pass constitutional muster?
Well, most of the criminal defense lawyers would argue that no, it would not, that when the legislation got to the Supreme Court, that it would be overturned on the basis that it took the death penalty too far. But of course, only really a court challenge could get you there to find that out.
Robert, I'm wondering what your reaction is, not just to this Texas proposal, but also to the growing number of proposals to expand the crimes that are covered under the death penalty.
Well, Chris, good to talk to you again. I appreciate for me to come on your show. I want you to know that we really believe that offenders can be rehabilitated. There's a society right now that is so hell-bent or so absolutely conclusive on going forward and trying to do exactly the worst you can do. Do exactly what you would do to a murderer. Put them in prison. Put them away. Give them the death penalty. That doesn't work for us.
There are a lot of statistics out there, and I know that there are some most recently from California that show a majority, and in some cases a vast majority, of sexual offenders are recidivists. So are they really able to be rehabilitated?
You know, we've studied that in depth, and one thing that we need to discuss is the fact that when we say sexual offenders, we need to categorize sexual offenders between those that are actively pursuing children and those that are non-actively pursuing children. And there are certain definitions and certain different ways to look at that. Many sexual offender databases around the country have no distinction on them. So that's something that is essential. And as the gentleman said, I don't believe it would pass congressional muster when it's looked at in this forum. I don't think the death penalty would be something when we have the clinical ability to either rehabilitate or reduce the recidivism rate by the internal programs that are currently available.
Robert, R.G., important debate, and one we'll be following. Thanks to both of you for helping us out.
Thank you so much, and it's good to see you again.
And we want to continue to follow this breaking news that is coming to us from Hollywood.